Since the mid-1700s, Bethany Lutheran Church has been a fixture in the Shenandoah Valley, ministering to the community for multiple generations.
We're part of a very rich and dynamic 240-year-plus history of mission and ministry from Bethany in the Shenandoah Valley, sharing the life and love of Jesus Christ with all. We want to continue that kind of family emphasis ministry, a generational ministry, which we're very thankful for, and I guess you could even say proud of, that we are a multi-generational kind of congregation. And then meeting the needs of young families here in this community, of strengthening marriages, family dynamics, giving you a sense of spiritual hope and stability.
Our family has been part of this congregation for over 200 years.
I have been here with this congregation a lifetime. My family before me, which goes back to 4 great-grandfathers back, started the congregation, and I and several of my relatives are here today.
Though rich in history and tradition, this body recognizes that God has raised them up to share His light and life with the world, and they do so in a warm, welcoming way.
And I feel that in Bethany, we have such a great, welcoming core of believers that whether you're new, it's your first Sunday, or you've been coming here for 6 years, you still feel that welcoming when you walk in the doors.
The reason we like it so much is the people were so friendly. They took us in, made us feel very warm and welcomed.
You can feel the Holy Spirit here when you're here for worship. And the people here are very, very cordial, very supportive, and we feel at home here.
We felt welcomed. We felt a connection pretty quickly. And just, all 3 of us knew right away that this was a church for us. A place that we could call home, a place we could grow.
This welcoming atmosphere isn't only for adults. Youth and children feel it as well.
Bethany is special because people here are just awesome.
When we came to Bethany, everybody was welcoming, and it felt like home. It felt like where we were supposed to be.
My favorite thing about this church is how the people act when they see me. And I'm glad that these people actually know me and they are really kind to me. That's my favorite thing about the church.
Reaching out to the community is at the heart of this congregation. One way the church reaches out is through the Early Childhood Education Center.
We can reach out into the community and bring in families who are unchurched, and we start by teaching the children about Jesus and saying prayers with them, and they go home and they start asking mom and dad to pray with them around the dinner table, pray with them at nighttime before bed, and before you know it, mom and dad are also saying, we want to be part of this too.
We have people here whose children went to school here, or they went to school here and now are part of our congregation and part of the mission of supporting continued Christian education through our ministry.
My mom and dad thought that this school was a good school. Since that day, they thought we should go to this church because it's a good church. And now we've been coming here for 5 years.
Continual outreach and genuine warmth is presenting Bethany with an incredible growth rate. Facility space is currently maxed out.
We're using every square foot that we have.
We have a wonderful facility that's served us here for 90 years. But there really are, I think, 3 issues that we're facing in this location. One is it's a 90-year-old building with 90-year-old everything. Another hindrance is this size. We need to have more room to grow for our congregational ministry and also our school ministry, and this facility just doesn't allow that for us. And the third aspect is probably our location and style of building, with 75% of our congregational life and school life coming from outside the city limits, and a very Gothic, beautiful Gothic-looking building. For modern ministry needs, we need to be in a location and in a building that meets those modern ministry kinds of needs.
The current building has been a beautiful home for years. It's held dear to the congregation and will be difficult to leave. However, reaching the kingdom at a greater level has become the most significant matter. The church believes that now is the time to build.
We really had to wrestle with that for a while, but the main thing is, you remember, that our church is not the building, it's the people, it's the congregation, and that's what we need to focus on.
Making a move is no problem for us. We've gone through this several times, and it's logical as far as I'm concerned. We're outgrowing this area.
Moving, I know it's hard. It's hard for a lot of folks that grew up here, but it's going to give us so many opportunities to grow as a church and to reach people in the community that don't have a church home, to share that warm, friendly, Bible-centered Bethany that we love so much.
We purchased land and have been on that process now of developing the site, coming up with building plans that would meet our needs. All along the way, those 9 years, we have seen the Holy Spirit open the doors that need to be opened for us to walk through as a faithful people, and He's closed those doors that would maybe be harmful to us or prevent us from following in His steps. We'll be enjoying is a larger sanctuary area, not only for Sunday morning worship for a congregation, but whenever we have larger group gatherings for our school, that we'll have more space for the families and people who come to enjoy the total ministry of our congregation. Another area of blessing is going to be a larger fellowship area for just being together as God's people. Another area is going to be our school wing, where it's going to be a much more secure area than we even have now for the safety of our children and families. And then the fourth area is extra office space so that we can think about expanding ministry through more staff.
Some of the advantages of the new facility will be that we will be all on one level. We will be able to have a secure entry into the school wing with one check-in area for families so they can check in their children and check out their children. Also, it'll allow our classrooms to have entryways into a fenced playground area, unlike our area here where we have to cross Maple Avenue to get to our fenced-in playground area.
Well, I think very much it will leave an impact on the community. I think a new building, more space, new facilities, modern equipment for children to have and to use touches parents a great deal.
It's in our DNA to move when we need to be answering God's call, and so now we're moving again to further God's kingdom, to further our work, to give us more opportunities. So that's why Bethany is embarking in this new chapter.
I think our church is at such a point that we could have a big impact on the community with different outreaches.
I'm ready for the move, and I've talked to quite a few people that are finally seeing that we need to move.
It'll allow us to reach more people. It'll allow us to reach different people.
Bethany Lutheran's history shows a people united and always moving forward to advance God's kingdom. This move begins the next chapter in that storied history and legacy to this community.
I'm seeing that some of the people that have been here the longest, some of those folks are realizing God's calling us to do this. So how can we say no to that?
I don't think we would have even given a thought to moving if it weren't for the fact that we feel God has called us to move in order to recognize what's happening in this area.
We know that maybe not everybody will be able to, or maybe even some people aren't going to want to because of where they are right now in this process. But it's really important for us to be able to stand up together as a congregation and say, we may have differences of opinions on some of these things, but we want to acknowledge that this is where the Lord has led us. His Spirit has opened the doors and provided, and we're in this together.
And the way this campaign has come about, I wasn't real enthusiastic, but when I see how it's softening people's hearts, it's inspiring our congregation, and how it's working inside me and how I feel about relocation, I guess it's hard not to believe that the Lord is at work, that He's guiding this process.
It's a difficult and scary decision for us as a congregation to make. From a historical context, I can look back at decisions similar to this that were made in the past 200 years for the people behind us to get us to where we are today. So I guess it's our legacy that we can leave for the future generation.
If one would look at our congregation, you see a congregation that's growing, that is forward thinking. Sure, we've been here a long time, but and history is important, but you can't rest your laurels on history. We have to look to the future, look forward, and you're either growing or you're dying. You cannot stand still.
I think it's important for us to be able to say that as well, in the sense that this relocation will be the 6th building that we're in our history. Relocating to where ministry needs will be best met is part of our DNA as a congregation. And it's our turn now, and we'd like to be able to celebrate doing this together. That's important.